Well, it's time for the 7,500 subscriber special, but I'm kind of late because I'm already at 9,000 and I said I'd do another one at 10,000, so meh, it is what it is. I'm going to give you this one, and if I missed your question, hit me up again for the 10,000 subscriber special. What's up, everybody? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're an indie artist looking for an album review and some promo, you can hit up Luke at redmattersite.com. And like I said, this is another FAQ/Q&A special. So thank you guys for supporting the channel and helping me hit 7,500 subscribers. 10,000 is right around the corner, so there will be another FAQ then. But for now, I want to just jump into these questions because there's a lot of them, and I don't want this video to be like half an hour in length, so I'm going to go down the list and answer them as quickly and thoroughly as I can. So the first question comes from Tiger Woods. What is your opinion on Lil B? Mostly I just consider him to be a novelty or parody rapper, but I have heard a couple of songs where he can spit and he actually sounded pretty dope, so I don't have too much more to say about Lil B. Connor PBX. What subgenres of hip-hop hinders the rap game and gives it a bad reputation, excuse me, the most? I would probably say drill music or trap music, because there's some people who think that's all hip-hop has to offer. Like, a lot of people think hip-hop is all just ignorant, simple, bassy, party music type of shit, but there's so much more there, and I'm the type of person who can appreciate all subgenres, so none of it really hurts the genre for me. I'm not that type of person. African Mike. Thoughts on Pee Wee Longway? Really don't have any, to be honest. William Clark. Favorite cartoon? Tons of classics out there, but I'm going to go with Samurai Pizza Cats, because that's one that doesn't get a lot of love, but I could probably answer this question with a different answer every time. William also asks how old I am. I'm 31, and he also asks if my opinion has changed on Drake since I heard the reference tracks, and it actually hasn't really. Like, I never had Drake in my top 10 as one of the best lyricists in the game, but I do think he knows how to make hit records and put together great songs, so you know, if he had some people helping him along to do that, it really didn't surprise me that much, and I didn't see it as a big a deal as some people did, because a lot of rappers out there do that, and people outside of the hip-hop genre do that. I know in hip-hop we want people to be 100% authentic and do their own shit. You definitely get points for that, and I'm not saying you can make a top 10 list if you got all these people writing your shit for you, but didn't really change my opinion on Drake. Drake is just Drake. He's kind of a pop star as much as he is a rap star, in my opinion. Bree Met asks, what do you think of Odd Future? I've never been a big fan of their music, to be honest. I don't have a whole lot to say about them. What album do I anticipate the most coming up in 2015? Well, we've pretty much had everything. Like, everybody has dropped this year. It's been a really great year. But I'm actually looking forward to Kanye West's album Swish. Not really because I expect it to be good, but just because I want to hear what it's going to sound like, and that's going to cause a lot of discussion, and you know how it is when Kanye drops. Shit gets crazy, so musically, I'm not excited for that one, but as far as what Kanye does for the culture when he drops something, pretty hyped about that. She also asks, what is your favorite YouTube channel? I would probably say Cinemassacre. I love the Angry Video Game Nerd series. I have for years. I've been watching every video that he puts out. I also like when they do the live feeds that they do now. I know Mike does a live feed where he plays classic games and beats them, so that's pretty cool as well. My favorite indie album of this year? I would probably say it's the mixtape, actually. Tut's Preacher's Son. I always shout that one out when people ask me what projects I think aren't getting enough love, so check that one out if you never have. Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad, I like both of them. Watched all of them so far, but I really like Game of Thrones because I read the books first, so actually I read the... Wait. No, I watched the first season first, and then I couldn't wait for the second season, so I went and read all the books through, and then followed through with the series, so I really do like Game of Thrones a lot. Most underrated rapper. There's tons of them out there, but I'm going to throw one name out there, even though I could throw out a bunch of different ones, and I'm going to say Corrupt, because just recently I was talking to one of my friends about how he's underrated, and I think Space Boogie is an especially dope album, so check that out if you've never heard that. Alright, David Rowe. Thoughts on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy? Basically, I think it's a true classic. I got to review that for the archives soon. Do you think if Kendrick keeps being as good as he is, he could end up in your top 10 or even top 5 of all time? And I would say he's probably in my top 10 already. I think he's been very consistent with his projects. He's changed the game a lot with both of his albums, so definitely, he's in there. He deserves to be in a lot of top 10s, honestly, I think. I mean, maybe there's some older MCs who have put in more work and have been around longer, but I think Kendrick's deserving. I could understand him being in a top 10 or top 5. Thoughts on Trap Lord by A$AP Ferg. has some bangers on it. Don't have too much more to say. What city do you think has produced the best rappers? I think that's really hard to answer because there's so many great hip-hop cities. New York, Los Angeles, Atlanta, Houston, etc., etc. There's just tons of them, and hip-hop now, especially with the internet, you're getting music from everywhere. So, I hope I didn't leave off any major cities because, I got love for everybody who's putting out work. Thoughts on Better Off Dead by Flatbush Zombies. Not really big into Flatbush Zombies, to be honest with you. I think they're legit, but I haven't listened to a lot of their projects. The Master Assassin, or Assassin, sorry. What is your top 5 favorite games of all time? I got a lot of favorite games, so I'll just give you 5 of my favorite series. Final Fantasy, Street Fighter, Soul Calibur, Mega Man, and the dark horse here, Shining Force. If you know Shining Force, shout out. Do you have any systems? If so, do you add viewers? Yes, I add viewers. I got a couple right now. And I play PS4 and a little bit of 3DS from time to time, but lately I'm on my Fallout 4 shit, so that's holding me down. Who is your best to least favorite member in Top Dog Entertainment? I would say Isaiah and Kendrick are pretty much tied for me. Then I would have J-Rock, Q, and Ab-Soul. And that's not hating on any of them. I mean, they're all pretty good, but that's just my personal list. What's the first thing that really attracted you to hip-hop, and what's the first album you bought? I just kind of gravitated to the sound of hip-hop, I guess. It was kind of fun and upbeat, fun to sing along with, and Criss Cross was my first tape. It came up in the 90s, so that shit was popping at the time. Even used to get my hair done like that and wear my clothes backwards. Kind of weird, but is what it is. Life Given. What's your top 5 favorite hip-hop albums of all time? So hard to answer that, man. I just always have a different list, but some of the albums that come up on there a lot include The Blueprint, College Dropout, Marshall Mathers LP, Chronic 2001, and All Eyes on Me. Those are just a couple of albums that really stick out to me, and they've just been favorite albums of mine that I can always come back to. But I could mix that top 5 up with some other albums as well, for sure. Jazz or R&B? I would say R&B for sure. What was your childhood like? Basically, I grew up in the country, riding bikes, jumping barbed wire fences, climbing trees, obviously, getting into some trouble in the backwoods, smoking some weed, drinking, just typical stuff that you do when you don't live in a city and there's not a lot of excitement. You just gotta find what you can do, A clone artist. If you could pick 2 hip-hop artists to make one album, who would they be? I'm actually still waiting on that Country Cousins project from Big Crit and Yellow Wolf. I just think it'd be really cool to have their 2 perspectives coming together since they're both country boys. I think that'd be dope. Their styles would mesh together pretty well too. Have you ever wanted to get into music? If you did, how did it go? And if you did not, then why not? I actually have made some music in the past. When I was in high school, me and one of my best friends, we did an album as a group called TKO, and that was produced by Classified actually. Some of you might know him. He's a pretty popular rapper now from out of here in Nova Scotia. He's done very well for himself. He recorded that album, gave us some beats, so that was pretty fun to do. And I also did a group project called FMP with some of my close friends. That was like 7 or 8 years ago. I used to live in what was basically a party shack, so all kinds of people used to come in and out, and they just drop verses. We'd do freestyles. My friend Chris, who actually just put an album out called Skinny Blimps, it's a comedic album. I'll post a link to that if you guys want it. Yeah, he produced it all with the beats, and we had a lot of people on there, man. It was a lot of fun. Gray Ranger, do you still buy physical copies of some albums? For me, I do, but it depends on what the packaging is like and what comes with it. For just one example, Czarface, one of my favorite albums this year, I had to buy that physical copy just because it looked so awesome. All the comic artwork and stuff like that, it was really cool. What advice can you give on reviewing music? I would say just be honest and don't worry about the backlash you receive. I know when I first started, sometimes I worried about putting my honest opinion out there because people were going to bash me, but at the end of the day, that's what you got to do. You're reviewing music. People want to know what you think, so don't feel like you got to butter things up. If you don't like an album, just back it up with why you don't like it. I mean, as long as your opinion makes sense, most people don't mind. I mean, I disagree with some critics and reviewers on a regular basis, you know what I mean? But as long as they make sense and I can see their points, I mean, it doesn't bother me because we all have different tastes and opinions. Carlix Issa asks, how do you manage work, reviews, and families? Definitely not easy, but I just do what I gotta do. Usually at work, when I'm on my breaks and lunches, I work on reviews and just do some writing and do some listening, and then in the evenings and my days off, I try to squeeze in some recording time and editing time. So it ain't easy, but I do it. Have you seen the No Words video by Hash Browns? Nope. Have you played Tetsuo and Youth backwards? Nope. If Eminem died after the Eminem show, do you think he would be in top 5 of all time? I think a lot of people have him in their top 5 of all time already, but for me, As some of you know, I'm kind of hard on Eminem sometimes, you know what I mean? I think his past couple of albums have just not been that great. I haven't been big into his music for many years now, and I think body of work is very important when you look at the top artists, but that's a whole other video. Name an MC you love that's hated by the hip-hop community. I'd say Max B. A lot of people do like Max B, but a lot of people think he's trash too, and I would definitely understand why, but I get down with the wave. Do you think it's been over a decade since we've had such a great year in hip-hop? I don't know when the last great year was exactly, but 2015 has been incredible, I'll say that. Rate Straight Outta Compton. That's just a classic and a game changer. That's really all I gotta say about that. And do you think Crit will ever get the recognition he deserves? I think he already does. I think he's pretty popular, and a lot of people appreciate how authentic he is with his music. Which two artists do you think will be the Kendrick and Cole of the game in the next 5 years? Well, I don't really like to compare artists too much in that type of way, but I think Isaiah Rashad and Mick Jenkins will make some great music over their career. Those are two guys who I really watch out for. Who do you think is the best live performer? That's tough to say. I don't go to a lot of shows, but I did see the Wu-Tang live in Rhode Island years ago, and that was hype. That was a really good show. I had a lot of fun with that. Does it piss you off when old school fanatics say that new school hip-hop sucks? Definitely annoys me a little bit because there's so much great hip-hop out there right now. If you're complaining about the state of the genre in 2015, I just feel like you're not looking, because there's a lot of subgenres and a lot of greatness coming from every angle. Is underground hip-hop overrated? Maybe, but some of the mainstream artists are overrated as well. Do you think the game is run by those who don't give a fuck about the culture? I would say yes, but there's also a big indie movement happening as well, so, you know, the indie movement is on the rise. Funk Volume versus Horseshoe Gang. Who won? I honestly didn't pay much attention to that, to be honest. Those are two groups that I'm not really big on, so when they were doing their battle thing, I didn't care. I listened to a couple of tracks and it was alright, but I don't know. It wasn't that interesting to me. Is Meek's career over? I wouldn't say it's over, because he's still making music and doing shows. It's not like he's out on the streets, you know, bumming for money, but I think he definitely took a huge hit, and a lot of people don't take him as seriously anymore. When it comes to releasing quality albums, which label is killing it right now? I'd say TDE has been doing pretty well, for sure. MC Fried Chicken 1. How many times do you listen to an album before you decide to review it? That really depends on the album, because sometimes there's a short album, like if it's only 10 tracks and there's not much depth there, it's not going to take as long to fully understand it, you know? You can use less listens for that. So you got to kind of find a balance. That's what I do. I want to listen to it enough times that I've given it a fair chance, but I also don't want to force myself to like something. Like if I listen to something once and I think it's really bad, I'm not going to listen to it 20 times to convince myself. But I will try to find some positives and negatives and balance it out so that my opinion is fully informed and it makes sense. Solo. Top 5 rappers in the game right now based on everything. That's really hard to answer, so I kind of did something different here. I just wanted to give you some things that stuck out to me in 2015. I thought obviously Kendrick shook the game up with To Pimp a Butterfly. Big Crit and Freddie Gibbs are just staying consistent. Scarface further strengthened his legacy with Deeply Rooted. I think that's a slept-on album. Lupe took lyricism to a next level on Tetsuo and Youth. And I think Game put out one of the best double discs that we've heard in a while. So those are just a couple of things that stuck out to me. Not saying they're the top 5 of the year, but I just kind of reworked your question, so maybe I'm a dick, but I thought that was interesting. Hopefully that worked for you. If Eminem wasn't white, would he still be as big as he is today? I think he'd still be big because he's got the talent. I mean, look at the rapping he was doing, especially when he first came out. But part of his mystique and his aura had to do with how he was white, so I'm not saying that should matter, but that's just kind of how it worked when he came out. Do you prefer hip-hop being a competition, or do you like that everyone just kind of forgets it and makes music together? I like competition when it's authentic, not when it's forced, so I don't know. It's cool when there's rap beef and they're really going at each other and doing great things, but it's cool when artists work together as well. Metal Mickey. What is your opinion on skits in hip-hop? Do they add or subtract to the project? How many is too many? Are skits lacking in today's hip-hop? Sometimes skits are kind of funny, and sometimes they add to a project, but for the most part, I hear them once, I never go back. I'm not like, oh man, I gotta hear the skit again. I can't wait to listen to that skit. Yo dog, skip that song, go to the skit. That doesn't happen. What was your favorite music 5 to 10 years ago? Has your taste changed much? I would say I had more of an appreciation for party and club music 10 years ago because I was in my early 20s, single and clubbing, but now that I'm a bit older and a father and a husband, I mean, I like a lot of chilled out rap now. I like the lyrical stuff maybe a little bit more than I did back then, and you know, it all has value. I can appreciate it all, but I definitely listened to more party and club bangers back then. Jeremiah Hughes, if you could make a rap group with 3 rappers and 1 producer, who would they be and why? There are a lot of possibilities there, but I think Crit, Ritz, and Yellow Wolf on some DJ Burn One production would be a perfect fit. Just think about that. If you know all these guys, put them together, I think that would make for some really wavy music. Who is your favorite trap rapper? I'd have to go with Future. I mean, he oversaturated the game this year a little bit, but he really took it to the next level. DS2 is still getting bang for me, so I really like what he did there. Who is your favorite producer? Very tough call for me, but I want to use this opportunity to say that Manny Fresh is extremely underrated because he basically carried Cash Money for years, gave them a bunch of gold hits, platinum hits. He did his damn thing, and I think he's kind of an unsung hero who doesn't get the love and attention he deserves. That's just my opinion. Thoughts on Young Thug? Every now and then I might like a song of his because of his production mostly, but I'm not really big on his overall style. Do you hate when people say that hip-hop is dead or rap sucks now? Yeah, that's definitely one of my pet peeves, because like I said earlier, hip-hop is more alive than ever. There's tons of subgenres. Just take a look. You'll find something you like. How long have you been married? 2 years. If you could take a vacation for a week, where would it be? I'm actually not big on travel at all. I'm actually a homebody, so I'd rather just take some time to chill, spend time with the family, do some reviews, listen to some music. You know how it is. I don't really have a destination I'd love to go. Maybe Egypt. I think it'd be cool to see the Sphinx and the pyramids. What are some of your favorite R&B tracks? I'll give you a couple of albums instead. Drew Hill's Enter the Drew, Case's Personal Conversation, and Bobby Valentino's self-titled debut. Those are 3 of my favorite R&B albums. If you had more time, what else would you consider reviewing? I would definitely do some video game reviews, I think. Maybe do a stream if I had the time and the resources, but, you know, I don't have that much time. I work full-time, got a family, doing these reviews is hard enough, but if I could, I would love to do video game reviews again. I think that'd be fun. What male and female artists would you like to hear collaborate on a mixtape or album? Rhapsody and Kendrick would definitely come up with some dope shit, guaranteed. Or maybe Snow the Product and Ritz. I think that would be a good fit too. And last question here, if you could pick 3 snack foods to eat for the rest of your life, what would they be? I'm actually not a big snacker, but if you give me some coffee and chocolate chips, I'm good. Or maybe some other baked goods, and we'd be all set. But that right there is the FAQ. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I kind of just went down the list. Whew. Getting parched here. I enjoy a nice drink of water, you know? I think I deserve it after that. Talking that long, smacking my lips, being all dry. Take it all in, guys. We made it. 7,500 subs. We're over that. We're at like 9,000 now. We're on the way to 10,000, so I will do another FAQ. If I missed your question, I apologize. I get sent so many, they get mixed in, and sometimes you guys ask the same question, so I might delete if someone had the same question as someone else. So it's not a diss on you. I just can't answer the same question 4 or 5 times. You know what I mean? So thank you, as usual, for supporting the channel. A toast to you boys and girls. There's much more to come. Keep supporting. Another FAQ at 10,000, and some more reviews on the way, man. Thank you very much for supporting the channel.